Welcome back to Accreditation Unlocked. I'm your host, Dr. Ken Clough, and today we're diving into one of the most important and sometimes underestimated aspects of accreditation, the role of faculty. When most people think about accreditation, they imagine administrators in suits, compliance officers buried in data, or institutional researchers analyzing dashboards. And why those roles matter. At the very core of accreditation are the faculty, the educators who design curriculum, deliver instruction, assess learning, and drive innovation in higher education. Today's episode is titled Faculty at the Helm, Leadership and Impact in Accreditation. We're going to explore why faculty matter so much in accreditation, what leadership roles they play, the challenges they face, and how institutions can better support and empower them. Faculty as the heart of accreditation. Let's start with the obvious, but sometimes overlooked reality. Faculty are the heart of accreditation. Why is that? Because accreditation is fundamentally about ensuring educational quality. Accreditors aren't just interested in whether your budget balances or your governance structure looks neat on paper. They want to know whether students are learning, whether programs are rigorous, whether institutions are fulfilling their mission, and who is most directly responsible for all of that. Faculty. Faculty are the ones designing syllabi, mapping courses to program outcomes, and aligning curricula with institutional learning goals. They are the ones crafting meaningful assignments, assessing whether students are meeting learning objectives, and making adjustments when gaps appear. When accreditors read a self-study report or visit campus, they look closely at faculty qualifications. Are they appropriately credentialed? Do they bring the expertise necessary to teach their disciplines? But beyond the credentials, they want evidence that faculty are engaged in continuous improvement. Are faculty reviewing assessment data? Are they discussing learning outcomes as a department? Are they using evidence to refine curriculum? In other words, faculty aren't just inputs into the accreditation system. They are the drivers of quality assurance. Accreditation recognizes that without strong, engaged, and empowered faculty, no institution can truly deliver on its mission. Faculty leadership in the accreditation process. Now, let's move beyond the foundational role and talk about leadership. Because faculty aren't just contributors to accreditation, they're often leaders. In many institutions, faculty lead the process of writing and reviewing the institutional narrative. They draft sections of the self-study report, provide examples of student learning outcomes, and articulate how academic programs align with accreditation standards. Faculty often chair program review committees or serve as assessment coordinators. These are leadership positions that require them to not only represent their disciplines, but also think holistically about institutional effectiveness. And let's be honest, accreditation work isn't glamorous. It involves writing detailed reports, compiling evidence, and responding to sometimes difficult feedback. But when faculty step into leadership roles in this process, they send a powerful signal. Accreditation isn't something done to faculty by administrators. It's something faculty are actively shaping. I've seen powerful examples of this during my career. At one institution, a faculty-led assessment committee transformed how the college measured general education outcomes. Instead of treating assessment as a compliance exercise, the committee framed it as a chance to ask, what do we really want students to know and be able to do when they graduate? The result wasn't just a stronger accreditation report, it was a revitalized curriculum. That's the essence of faculty leadership and accreditation, shifting the conversation from compliance to improvement and from bureaucracy to innovation. Faculty as change agents. Accreditation is often portrayed as static, standards to be met, boxes to be checked. But the reality is that accreditation is a dynamic process. Standards evolve, educational contexts shift, and faculty play a key role in shaping how institutions respond to change. Think about the growth of online and hybrid learning. 20 years ago, most accreditors barely mentioned online education. Today, it's front and center. Who has been on the front lines of that shift? Faculty. Faculty design online courses, adapt pedagogy to new platforms, and figure out how to maintain rigor in digital spaces. They bring creativity and innovation to challenges accreditors care deeply about: accessibility, student engagement, and quality assurance in virtual settings. Or, consider experiential learning. Accreditation standards increasingly emphasize high-impact practices like internships, research experiences, and service learning. These don't happen without faculty vision and leadership. Faculty are the ones developing partnerships with community organizations, embedding real-world projects into courses, and mentoring students as they apply knowledge in practical contexts. In this sense, faculty aren't just supporting accreditation, they're driving the future of what accreditation looks like. When faculty innovate in curriculum design, assessment, or pedagogy, they push institutions to reimagine educational quality. And in doing so, they help accreditors rethink their expectations. Faculty leadership, therefore, isn't just about maintaining standards, it's about raising them. Challenges faculty face in accreditation roles. Now, I don't want to paint too rosy a picture, because the reality is that faculty face real challenges when it comes to accreditation leadership. The most obvious is workload. Faculty already juggle teaching, research, advising, and service. Adding accreditation responsibilities on top of that can feel overwhelming. Writing sections of the self-study or analyzing assessment data can require dozens of hours, time that competes with grading, mentoring students, or advancing scholarship. There's also the issue of buy-in. Some faculty see accreditation as an administrative burden, something distant from their day-to-day teaching. They may be skeptical that accreditation work has any real impact on student learning. If they feel that accreditation is just checking the box, their engagement will be minimal. Another challenge is equity. Too often, the same small group of faculty carry the accreditation load year after year. These faculty become indispensable, but they also risk burnout. And institutions lose resilience when knowledge about accreditation is concentrated in just a few individuals. Finally, some faculty face a cultural challenge. Accreditation language doesn't always align with academic language. Terms like learning outcomes assessment or closing the loop may feel foreign or even antithetical to faculty who value academic freedom and disciplinary nuance. Bridging that gap requires careful communication and trust. These challenges are real, and they remind us that faculty leadership in accreditation doesn't just happen. It requires intentional support. Supporting and empowering faculty leadership. So how can institutions support and empower faculty in accreditation roles? First, professional development is key. Faculty are experts in their disciplines, but not necessarily in assessment or accreditation processes. Offering workshops on learning outcomes, data use, or self-study writing can demystify accreditation and give faculty confidence. Second, institutions need to recognize and reward faculty contributions. That could mean providing release time, stipends, or service credit for accreditation work. But recognition also means celebrating faculty leadership publicly. When accreditation efforts succeed, highlight the faculty who led the charge. Third, institutions should embed accreditation into everyday faculty work. Instead of treating accreditation as a separate, time-limited project, integrate it into program review cycles, curriculum committees, and faculty governance. When accreditation becomes part of the normal academic life, it feels less like an add-on and more like a shared responsibility. Fourth, build a culture of collaboration. Faculty should see accreditation as something they do with administrators, not something administrators do to them. That means open communication, shared decision-making, and mutual respect. Finally, broaden participation. Don't rely on the same 3 or 4 faculty every cycle. Rotate responsibilities, mentor new faculty in accreditation roles, and create pathways for faculty leadership development. That not only prevents burnout, but also builds institutional resilience. When institutions support faculty in these ways, accreditation shifts from a burden to an opportunity to reflect, improve, and lead. The future of faculty leadership and accreditation. As we look ahead, the importance of faculty leadership and accreditation is only going to grow. Accreditors are increasingly focused on outcomes, what students actually learn and achieve. They are asking whether institutions are serving all students well. They are scrutinizing online and hybrid learning to ensure quality. None of these areas can be addressed without faculty leadership. Faculty are the ones who will design equitable curricula, implement inclusive pedagogy, and innovate in digital learning. Faculty will also be the ones interpreting the data, identifying gaps, and leading improvements. At the same time, higher education is facing pressures around accountability, funding, and public trust. In this environment, accreditation can sometimes feel like a defensive shield, something institutions do to prove their legitimacy. But faculty have the power to transform accreditation into a proactive tool, a way to demonstrate excellence, to innovate, and to show the public the real value of higher education. In the future, I believe we'll see more faculty taking leadership roles, not just with their institutions, but also in the accreditation field itself, serving as peer reviewers, leading accreditation workshops, and shaping national conversations about educational quality. Faculty leadership, in other words, is not just about today's self-study. It's about the future of higher education. So as we wrap up, let's recap. Faculty are the heart of accreditation because they are the ones most directly responsible for student learning and curriculum quality. Faculty don't just contribute, they lead. They write self-studies, chair committees, and drive continuous improvement. Faculty are change agents, pushing institutions to innovate curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. They also face challenges: workload, buy-in, equity, and cultural barriers. Institutions must support and empower faculty through professional development, recognition, collaboration, and broad participation. And as accreditation evolves, faculty leadership will only become more central, both within institutions and across the field. Accreditation may be complex, but at its core, it's about people. And among those people, faculty stand at the helm, guiding institutions toward quality, innovation, and integrity. Thanks for joining me today on Accreditation Unlocked. I'm Dr. Ken Clough, and I hope this episode has given you new insights into the essential role of faculty leadership in accreditation. If you found this conversation helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with colleagues. And as always, if you'd like to learn more about how the Accreditation Collaborative can support your institution, visit us at accreditationcollaborative.com. Until next time, remember, accreditation isn't just compliance. It's a pathway to continuous improvement, and faculty are leading the way.